All right, go right ahead.
This is Terry Kniebel from University Hair, who's going to explain to us the profession of barbering. And Terry has been a barber for a very long time, has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, Terry. Thanks for coming to the museum this
No
morning.
problem.
Talk about barbering. Can you tell us a little bit about the history of the art and science of barbering?
Well, it's a very old profession. It's actually, barbering is the third oldest profession in the whole world. It started way back before, anybody can even imagine. It's a great profession, and you're always around people. Most important thing is, there's so many things involved with it that you have to understand a lot of the difference in the quality of it and the tools that were used years ago, the technology of what we have today. And it's just, when you come into the hair salon, you sit down and your barber, your hairdresser, they start working on you, but you have no idea how far it's come and the tools they used to use on it. It's just incredible. So, this is totally educational, and enjoy it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the barber pole and the one we have represented?
Okay, this barber pole right here is missing the blue. Okay, the red was the blood, and it rolled around in a circle. The white was the bandages, and the blue, which we're missing, was the veins. And barbers years ago were doctors in the early times. And way back in the Old West, they had leeches, and they had all kinds of things that they used to suck the blood out of a big bar fight the night before. They always ended up in a barbershop, and that's what the red, white, and blue, they got this idea because one time, years ago, they looked out behind the barbershop, and the red was the blood flowing around on a clothes pole, on a clothesline, red, white, and blue, and it wrapped around in a circle. And that's how they instituted the barber pole, which means that's where you went to get yourself a shave, or to, get leeches put on your face to get the blood sucked out of it because you had a big bar fight the night before, or many different things. They actually would open you up and try to do surgery on you years ago. They were the doctor of all towns.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to share your knowledge about some of the items we have on display.
Sure.
And Linda's going to bring those to you.
Okay.
And if you tell us a little bit about that, then we can kind of see what we have here in our collection. And our visitors can then take a look at them more closely in the cabinet that's located in the main room.
Sure. And Linda's coming up now. There's a funny thing about that. Hair really has it's on everybody. So the hairdressers, the same basic idea. It just happened to be years ago that barbers were the main thing. But now hairdressers taken over, and barbers is almost an obsolete thing. So technology moves, it moves on, but the whole thing boils down to it's hair. And everybody has it, so we might as well take care of it, okay? This is an old mug that they used for shaving. And this is the soap that you could actually buy years ago. There was companies that would make it, like 20 Mule Team Borax. That was their soap that they made, and they put that in the mug, and then they use a brush, of which we don't have. This is a duster for a neck, okay? But this is they would put a brush in here, okay? And when they put hot towels on the faces, and then they would lay you back in this chair, and you would stretch out straight just like this, laid back, and they would soap this brush up. And they would put hot towels on the face first, and then they would put that on, and then they put the hot towels on again. And then they got you prepared to make sure that the hair on your face would raise up, and it made it much easier to shave. Okay? That's basically this. This was a duster that they used to clean somebody up afterwards. This is, everybody thinks that, where did this hair come from? It's actually from a cow's tail. That's not many people would know that, but the tail on a cow, these guys, whenever you go to look at that's where that comes from. 100% cowhide tail, okay? All right, here's a razor. Years ago, they used these strictly and solely on the faces to shave, okay? They would lay them all back, and they would be laying down here. Now, you might have the sheriff in the chair, you might have, you know, somebody, you know, and there might be a fight in there, especially when you're laid in back because everybody was vulnerable at that time, you know. So the barber just kind of stepped back and let things happen. But this is what they did. They basically would lay him back, and they would shave him. And there's many different angles that you would actually go into. You know, pull the face up, you pull the mustache up, you shave down, and then you actually would turn the razor over, and you shave like this. Okay, so you always have the flow of the beard with the mind of the razor as it went through it. These items were very, very, very sharp. This is a strop. This is the item that they used. And I'll show you this real quick here. Yeah, and Linda, you can actually hold this right down here. I think I got it. Yeah, there you go. This strop was done like this. They would strop down like this, and then they would flip it and come right back up and flip it again and come on down. When I was in barber school, that was the hardest thing to learn how to do because you had to learn how to turn your fingers in order to make that. And by the time I got out of barber school, I could do that. Now, do I shave somebody now? Big razors around, and I just give them one and tell them going, I don't keep anything sharp like that. I'm all about cutting a head of hair, you know. So can I do that? Yes, I can. Is it worth it taking the time to do something like that? No. Time's an element, money is an element, so, you know, that's just years ago. Barber was there all day long. He might be there till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And, you know, then the next morning he'd come in and have to dress somebody's wounds or take care of whatever happened through the evening, okay?
Wow.
This is just another razor here, and that's what they use that for also, shaving.
Can you tell us a little bit about the artifacts above your head?
Yeah, this is a spittoon. Everybody chewed tobacco in those days, and they basically, you know, would put it off in a corner, and they had great play with that because, you know, everybody would come in and see who could hit it, okay? I mean, the sanitation in those days, there was none. So it just, but that's what a spittoon was. They enjoyed, you know, it's like anything else. Today we got baseball, basketball, it's like shooting a basketball in a corner, but they would actually turn around and try to hit the spittoon, you know. That's what that basically was. This here item right here is a vibrator. Now this came into play once electricity was actually formed, but they would actually take that, say somebody got a shoulder worked over, and they would actually sit it on there and vibrate that, you know, to the point. It's like modern day technology. Nowadays they have tensors that they put on a muscle, and you know, you could buy one and put it at home if your back goes out. I mean, you know, it tenses that and it relaxes the muscles around the areas where the nerves are inflamed. But that's basically what that is, okay? Put that back up here. This here is a very, very good tool. It's what we call an Oster clipper. And it's probably the first motor-driven clipper that was ever used, okay? And Oster company still very much produces the same products, same things, but it's motor-driven, and it runs in a circular thing. This beats the heck out of, you know, when you get a haircut. Years ago, they used to use, I think we might have one. There it is right there. Let me explain that right here. This is what they used years ago as a clipper, and it was handheld, and it's pulled like crazy on the back of a neck. Can you imagine sitting there in the barber chair and sometimes these pull, and you can go, oh, you've had that happen too, and many kids have. So, you know, this is a motor driven, and this vibrates much quicker, and it's much better. The products are just much better. So these things, matter of fact, I seen one when I was in barber school, and that's 1,000 years ago, but that thing was nasty. And they put it on the back of my neck, and I thought I was bleeding to death. This thing is a much better product, and it's used exclusively, you know, today when kids sit down and get a haircut. Even girls get clipper cuts sometimes. I mean, even with long hair, we use it. It's just a tool to cut or design a head of hair. Put this back up here. Right here, this is a blending shear. Or used kids would know it as a thinning shear. This has been the best invention in the history of mankind. It's a scissors that only cuts half the hair. So what happens is, say somebody goes in and they cut, the hair cutter cuts a piece of hair off the top of the head and it falls into place, but sometimes like in the neckline, they can't get it to where it falls in because there's a curl there or the hair moves in a different direction. They use a blender to cut half the hair out to make it fade together. So you lose that line. It's kind of hard to explain, but it really is a great tool. And that helped out a lot of barbers once they learned how to use this tool. It makes all the difference in the world in the hair cutting process of what looks good and what should be. Okay? I don't know if anybody can see this. Let me pull that off the shelf. Good. This here is an old-time sterilizer. Years ago, they used to put formaldehyde in there as a disinfectant, okay? And they would put all kinds of tools in there. But the idea was, so they thought they were disinfecting the product, okay? But you actually use it, formaldehyde to embalm somebody, but that's what they actually started using. Nowadays, they have, if you go into the barbershops, they have what they call, oh God, I can't say the name of it now. It's blue and it sits in a canister. And you put all your tools in there and disinfects it. Oh my, can't come up with it.
Don't worry about it.
All right. There you are. That's what sterilizer does. In other words, the tools should go in there every night, for sure. Okay, and that way it sterilizes. And that way, you know, people sometimes don't realize it, but they might come into the shop with head lice. And we don't know it, okay? But, you know, usually we find that real quick. And we can't work on those type of people because they have to be, you know, free of anything.
Right.
And that's what a sterilizer does, just in case we happen to miss it, that all your tools are sterilized all the time, okay?
Got it.
All right, girls. This here is a stone that they would use to sharpen on a razor. And basically what they would do, they would roll it the same way that you rolled that one. You roll forward, turn it over, roll it. A lot of times they would do this, but it's the same thing. You learn how to turn your fingers. And they call this a whetstone. That way they could put an edge on a clipper or on a razor, and then they would strop it to hone it down free. And once they did that, they usually did that early in the morning before they started. That way it would stay sharp, you know, through most of their day. But those tools, these tools here were used exclusively. There was nobody came around, sharpen your scissors or sharpen your, you know, it was all done by the barber itself, right?
And can you tell us, what do you think technology has played a role in your career?
Oh God, thank God it did. All that stuff, you know. Today's world of hair and cutting hair, like I said, it's on everybody. The technology is just, it gets better and better and better. You know, and what it really has done was made our profession so much easier. Okay, now we think more in terms of what makes people look good instead of all the tools that, you know, you just grab it and do it. Nowadays, I mean, it's more about looking at someone and knowing exactly what you want to do with it, and you have the technology within your tools, and it's all phenomenal. It just happens. You know, it's just like magic. So technology is great. You know, how would you like to go to a barber and walk in there, and he's got 3 guys in there with leeches on their faces and drawing the blood out, and they really did do that, people. I mean, that's exactly what they did. They were the doctors of that time. That's what they were. Undertakers, you know, he'd come and get them if they didn't live through the day, but that's how it worked.
Can you tell us a little bit about the chair we have today?
Sure. This chair right here is actually what they call a booster plate. That's where the kids got to sit down. They'd sit on this and they get their hair cut. Basically, every shop has one. Kids usually, by the time they get to be about 8, they start getting, you know, from 5 to 8, they start getting rid of the booster chair. They don't even want to see it there because they're big now, you know, so They come in and they get their hair trimmed, and that's basically what that was. This here is a rest or a blade or a rest for the back of the neck. And when you push them back, you would put their head further back, and they would lay with the face actually in a contour about like this, lay back. So you can move the head and the face everywhere you needed it. But that was a headrest, and that's what they used that for, okay? These chairs had a lever on the side that you actually pull out. I'm not real sure this, yeah. You can pull this out and you can move the chair in any direction you care to go. And you also could lock it, it will lock up, and you push it forward and this would go back. Okay, so you could put them back like that. The chair, now we have electric chairs. You know, some people don't, some people still have a pump chair. But the idea was that you could pump the side of it and pump it up like that. Almost 90% of the chairs produced in the hair industry come from Koken in St. Louis. And the history behind that is that Koken basically takes care of just about all the barbering stuff. One thing, this is a funny story. The patron saint of barbers is St. Louis. So it's only fancy that you actually have everything made in St. Louis. So I guess I ended up about the right place. You know? As a barber, that was a patron saint of barbers of St. Louis.
Thank you.
You bet.